All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to unpack something really complex, looking at what our source material calls the engineered rise of the Putin regime. So first things first, what do we even mean by engineered? Now, this isn't about some single, shadowy conspiracy theory. Think of it more like a massive chain reaction. It's what happens when you get this perfect storm of collapsing institutions, raw human ambition, and just total economic chaos all hitting at once. They combine, they react, and boom, you get this incredibly concentrated system of power.
And that's the whole point, really. It's not about one single event. It's about a whole chain of them. You really have to see it as one domino knocking over the next, and then the next, to get the full picture.
So where did this all start? Well, you've got to go back to the 1990s. Picture post-Soviet Russia. It was pure chaos. And that chaos, that was the fertile ground where all of this began.
I mean, just try to imagine it. A complete and total power vacuum. The entire Soviet state, this massive machine, just vanishes. And at the same time, there's this frantic gold rush for market economy. The basics, law and order, they're just falling apart. And all of the country's incredible wealth, it's suddenly just lying there for anyone strong enough to take it.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? Step 1, the Soviet state collapses. Bam. Step 2, all those state assets get privatized, like overnight. We're talking oil, gas, you name it. Step 3, a handful of people, the right people with the right connections, grab control of pretty much everything. And that leads to step 4, the rise of the oligarchs. And these guys weren't just mega rich, they had serious political muscle.
Okay, so you've got this wild, chaotic new landscape with these powerful new players. It's basically a tinderbox, just waiting for a spark. And that spark, that crisis, well, it became the huge turning point in this whole story.
And just look at how fast things happened. It's dizzying. In '98, you get a massive financial crisis that just guts the economy and leaves the government looking totally helpless. People are desperate. Then boom, August '99, in comes Vladimir Putin, the former FSB director, as prime minister. And right after that in September, this horrifying series of apartment bombings hits. Suddenly, there's this incredible climate of fear, and everyone is crying out for a strong hand to make it stop.
And Putin's response? It was swift, it was hardline. You have to remember, people were just exhausted from years of chaos, and now they were genuinely terrified. So when he promised to restore order and get tough, that was music to their ears. His popularity just exploded, literally overnight.
Now, we have to pause here for a second because this is important. The sources make it very clear that what actually happened with those bombings is still a huge question mark. Independent investigations were blocked, and there's still a ton of debate about who was really behind them. So the political effect is undeniable, but the full story, we just don't have it.
So Putin has the public's backing. What's next? Well, now it's time to build the machine. This is where the old chaotic system gets taken apart piece by piece, and something new and way more centralized is built in its place.
And job number 1 was to deal with those oligarchs we talked about. The deal they were offered was brutally simple. You had 2 choices. Option A, stay loyal. Don't touch politics, and you get to keep all your billions. Option B, show a little independence, challenge the Kremlin, and you'll be crushed. The prime example, of course, being Mikhail Khodorkovsky. He challenged the system, and he lost everything.
Okay, so the oligarchs are now in line. The next building block is something called the Siloviki. It's a really key concept. Basically, this is a network of guys with backgrounds in security, the military, intelligence, the men of force. And they were systematically placed into all the top jobs in government and in big state companies. The result? A power structure built on loyalty and discipline, run by people from the security services.
And what do you get when you put all this together? Well, you get what a lot of analysts call a managed democracy. It looks like a democracy from the outside. You've got all the parts, elections, parties, a press. But when you look under the hood, the state controls the big TV stations, real opposition gets squeezed out, and the election rules keep getting tweaked to help the guys in charge. The shell is there, but the engine inside is completely different.
All right, so the machine is built. Now, how do you protect it? How do you make it strong? This next part is all about the tools of control, both hard power and soft control.
When it came to foreign policy, Russia had one massive trump card: its energy. I mean, being a huge global supplier of oil and gas gives you incredible leverage, especially over Europe, which became really dependent on that energy. It wasn't just about money, it was a powerful political tool.
But back at home, it wasn't about leverage, it was about pure control. And the message to anyone thinking of speaking out was becoming crystal clear, and frankly, pretty terrifying. The price you'd pay for dissent was getting incredibly high.
You started to see these high-profile, shocking cases, journalists, critics, former spies, ending up dead under suspicious circumstances. Think about the poisoning of Alexander Litvinenko in London. Now, who was officially responsible is still debated internationally, right? But the effect was not up for debate. It sent a chill through anyone who might want to speak out. It created a climate of fear, and that fear was a very effective tool for silencing people.
Okay, so we've seen the pieces of the puzzle, right? The chaotic foundation, the crisis that acted as a trigger, and then the careful construction of a new system of control. Let's put it all together now and talk about the big picture and what it all means.
And this is really the core of it. The whole point is that this system wasn't some random accident. It was, in a sense, engineered. It was the direct result of all these pieces falling into place. You had the foundation of 90s chaos. You had the catalyst of the crisis in 98 and 99. You had the legitimacy that came from a tough response. And then you had the control of the oligarchs and the structure provided by the Siloviki. Each step led to the next.
Which brings us to the final, really big question. This entire system was engineered for one thing: stability. To centralize power and hold it. But is a system like that one that relies so heavily on natural resources, on top-down control, and on squashing dissent, is it actually built to last? Or does that very rigidity, that resistance to change, become its greatest weakness in the long run? It might look strong on the surface, but could it be incredibly brittle underneath? And that? Well, that's the question we're left with.